자, 오늘은 실생활하고 이 시간은 실생활에 관계되는 아주 쉬운 표현들을 한번 문장으로 쫙 읽어드리겠습니다. How I started exercising. I'm not particularly fond of exercising, so I put on weight and my stamina decreased. That's why my dad often told me to get some exercise. Because I'm tall and have a big frame, he started suggesting judo. That's when a judo hall popped up in front of our house. My dad said it was a great opportunity and signed me up. So before I knew it, I had started doing judo. There weren't many students when it first opened, so the head instructor taught each of us one-on-one. There was even an elderly man with white hair among us. Seeing him exercise so diligently in his old age, I felt like I had to put in the effort too. It was challenging at first since I hadn't had a regular exercise routine in a while. However, as I kept at it, it felt like not only my body but also my mind was becoming healthier. Indigestion. Talk about when you had the indigestion. I had a pretty bad case of indigestion last weekend. I ate the dinner too fast because I was hungry. About an hour after dinner, I had stomach cramps and I felt like throwing up. I went to the pharmacy to get some medicine. However, the medicine didn't do any good. My mom pricked the tip of my thumb with a needle. That's a home remedy for indigestion. I didn't feel well until the next morning. I just had to stay inside and get lots of rest. Ever since that instant, I always make sure to eat slowly even when I'm hungry. What are some ways to prevent kids from playing computer games excessively? Excessive gaming can lead to poor academic performance at school. It can also encourage bad behavior, as many games are violent. It isn't possible to do away with computer games completely, but parents can take several approaches to help kids play games less. One simple method is to impose a limit on how long their children can play computer games. If these rules are enforced strictly, excessive gaming can be stopped at once. However, it doesn't really solve the root of the problem. Kids usually play games because they have nothing else to do. Finding something else for them to do like sports or arts is a better long-term solution to the game addiction problem. Talk about the obesity prevention. October 11th is World Obesity Day. The day was designated to raise awareness and educate people about the need to prevent the obesity. Organizations from 50 regions around the world dedicated to addressing obesity designated World Obesity Day. and are working on the issue together. 31.8% of Korea's population were obese in 2013, but that figure rose to 39% in 2020. Obesity itself takes a toll on people's quality of life, but various complications arising from obesity are also major problems. Some examples include heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and cancer. Obesity poses a major threat to public health. More and more people are saying we need to be proactive in preventing and managing it. There is no quick fix for the problem of obesity. Above all, it's important to take preventative measures early on during childhood and the adolescence. Obesity at a young age eventually leads to obesity as an adult in many cases. Body profile photos. Talk about the trend of taking body profile photos. As a New Year's resolution, my husband and I have been preparing since late January to take body profile photos. I'm having a go at it to celebrate turning 30, and I talked my husband into joining me. We've worked with a personal trainer for months now and gone to the gym almost daily to work out. However, the process is not all fun and games. I spend 3 hours a day commuting to and from work. Plus, I also participate in the English recitation challenge and take pole dancing lesson. Adding training lesson on top of all this means I'm often pressed for time. I love eating, so sticking to a strict diet was really hard to get used to at first. But I try to strengthen my resolve by posting photos of my workout and meals on Insta every day. Talk about the condition of tinnitus. 티니터스가 뭐야? 이명. 와, 이명이란 단어가 그거네. 세상에 이명이란 단어가 있어요. Talk about the condition of tinnitus. Quite a lot of students at schools suffer from tinnitus. Tinnitus is a condition which causes people to hear things even when there isn't any noise. The major cause of tinnitus is damaged hearing due to aging or exposure to noise. It can manifest itself as a high-pitched ringing noise or the sound of wind or chirping insect. The best way to deal with tinnitus is to ignore it. The symptoms grow worse the more you focus on the noise. You should simply take it easy and try to focus on something else. Tinnitus is exacerbated by overwork or a lack of sleep. Doing some light exercise and improving the quality of your sleep can help to cure tinnitus. The main cause of tinnitus is the diminished hearing. So protecting your sense of hearing is the best prevention against tinnitus. Students these days often use Bluetooth earphones. When you do use the earphones, you should limit the volume to about 60%. It's also best to take a 10-minute break every 30 minutes. Sushi places. Talk about typical sushi places in Korea. Conveyor belt at the sushi restaurants are easy to come across in Korea. It's because the diners can have a meal at a reasonable price in these restaurants. They contain large rotating conveyor belt. Various types of sushi on multicolored plate are placed on the belt. Each color has a fixed price. Diners pay for their meal based on how many plates they had and what color they wore. If the sushi you want is nowhere to be seen on the conveyor belt, you can order it a la carte. Everything else you need is placed close by. Each seat is equipped with chopsticks and seasonings that can be used right away. If you finish your soup, you can ask for a refill. Many people go to sushi restaurants for lunch or for dinner. Talk about the guinea pig. Guinea pigs are rodents that are very popular as pets. They have a gentle disposition and adorable doll-like faces. They are plump. Their plump rear ends make them look similar to pigs, which is why they were given that name. Guinea pigs scare easily, and they are sensitive, but they take to people surprisingly well. They recognize their family's voices and the smells of food. They also recognize their own name. Sometimes they beg for the food. They are also quite clever and can be taught the tricks. Because of their digestive system, guinea pigs eat all day long. If they remain on an empty stomach for too long, they might die. To raise a healthy guinea pig, you have to pay close attention to their food. They require an unlimited supply of fresh water and hay. You should also feed them pet food and fresh produce to supplement the nutrients. Hey, hey. Talk about the joy of communicating with friends overseas. My childhood dream was to travel the world and experience many cultures. I believe that meeting friends while traveling would motivate me even further. So I had intentional pen pals, intentional, international. So I had international pen pals during my middle and high school years. At one point, I exchanged letters with the whooping 33 foreign friends. It was a truly enriching cultural experience for me. As I entered college, got married, and focused on my career, I stopped corresponding with the pen pals. However, I came across an opportunity 2 years ago and I started pen paling with a friend overseas again. Now I use apps to write to pen pals. I enjoy the feeling of anticipation as I wait for replies. It brings back the innocent emotion of my childhood. To me, having pen pals is a vicarious experience, just like the traveling overseas to experience cultures from all around the world. When I retire not too long from now, I hope to travel to different countries and meet my pen pals in person, creating fond memories. Jeju's Olet Trail. Talk about the Jeju Ole Trail. Around this time last year, I was very tired because I was swamped with work. One day when I got home a little early, my daughter suggested visiting Jeju Island. So we booked plane tickets and got on the last flight that every day. As soon as I woke up the next morning, I walked along the Jeju Ole Trail. I took in the blue sky and the ocean. I walked alone in lovely forest. I got lost in thought and sometimes burst into tears. It made me feel at peace. The various plants and the green leaves I encountered along the way all seemed to console me. For ever since then, my husband and I have visited Jeju every chance we got to walk the Ole Trail. I thought I had seen everything there was to see in Jeju, but I had barely scratched the surface. This year, I started sponsoring the trail out of gratitude to the people who created it.